My name is Mr. Mason Jones. I write Deeker, D-E-A-K-E-R.
What's your name?
Banana Gold.
Real name?
If you want.
Yeah, Mike Atkinson.
I'm Telly Fresh, 777.
Well, I am Ham.
Let's fucking bomb that shit. I started writing well when I was really young, but you know, when I was really young, I'm not really too proud of my pieces. So I'd say I started doing it seriously maybe around 2001, 2002. Well, there definitely is a Richmond graffiti scene, and that's one of the reasons why I felt like I wanted to move here, is because it's kind of like an industrial feel to the city. There's a lot of boarded up buildings, and there's prime locations to do graffiti out here. So it's good because, you know, you want to, if you have a boarded up building in your neighborhood, you know, why not make it a little bit more interesting, a little bit more beautiful? It's already an eyesore to everybody else. So that kind of element attracted me. But there is a great graffiti scene here. There's a lot of famous writers that are out here. There's a lot of good trains. So Richmond definitely has a graffiti scene that's pretty predominant. But at the same time, it's a small city, so you have only a handful of people really getting out there and really putting in work. Well, initially my brothers influenced me, but as far as graffiti writers that influenced me, I have to say pretty much everybody in the 7th Letter Crew, MSK, AWR, they're like all pretty much Los Angeles and, you know, San Francisco based crews. I like to apply myself, you know, in their direction. I think they're keeping the art evolving in a different kind of way that nobody else is. So when I go out and paint, I definitely have like a Los Angeles-based style that's unique to me, and it's just kind of cool because out here on the East Coast, there's not that many Los Angeles styles, and so I feel like I stand out a little bit more by doing that. It's really not about like where you're from. It's kind of like what you're doing now. And I mean, there's this line. It's from this, you know, this Andre song. It's not where you're from. It's where you pay rent. And it's kind of, you could be from anywhere, but where you're doing your thing at and what the outcome is really the most important. I'm not able right now to, you know, I don't have a crew out here, so I'm kind of like a, you know, rolling solo on this, and it's good to find up and link up with people who have, you know, want to do the same thing and they're down for the cause just as much as I am.
On the edge of our vast mistake.
Well, I mean, I grew up in Woodridge, and then I moved to the city after I graduated high school, and then I mean, nothing special about Richmond, it's just where I just happened to come across. I started around 97, so I started like going to Tower Records and buying like graffiti magazines, and I would just watch and look at what was in the magazine and just kind of like draw what looked like that in the magazine to what I liked, and then I would just go buy paint and practice. When I first started, you know, back in high school, like I did the whole like, I went out and tagged, I did all the bombing, like I was in DC tagging and doing the whole like getting chased by cops and like all this stuff. Like I already did all that, and it just got to a point where I was like, you know, I wanted to evolve as an artist, but especially as a graffiti artist. So I wanted to like keep doing graffiti, but like how could I like take it to the next level? For me, it was to just like push myself into doing like more art and more like murals and painting that's bigger and better, instead of just like continue tagging where you don't have much time, because when you're on the street, like you're always conscious of like who's watching or if you're gonna get caught or any of that stuff. So I'd rather just be able to like go to a wall and like take my time and like do something really amazing and like show like the average person that, hey, look, you know, like this is all spray paint, this is cool, like this can be cool for you too, you know? Like you don't have to look down on graffiti as like a crime or anything like that, or like vandalism. Like it's art.
Mr. Immigrant, talk to them.
Representing Wreck the Floor Crew, Universal Zulu Nation, Chapter 30, and we're holding it down for real hip hop. We're a grassroots organization and the founders of the hip hop culture. We're here in Richmond talking about graffiti. I mean, I've had my share of like running from the cops. You know, like graffiti writers, like usually a retirement age would be 18 because, you know, you don't want the charges, you don't want to deal with all that. But I've had my share, you know, when I was younger. And, you know, you tend to be more reckless when you're under 18. And you just go out and you just bomb stuff. And I think everybody starts off as a toy. I myself have never, like, found myself in a situation where, like, somebody has hated me because of graph. You know, because I'm usually, like, respectful on the walls. But there are people out there that hate. And people always hate on your art. But that's what hip-hop's all about, you know, hating on each other and just taking it to another level. Who can bomb the most, who can like bomb the quickest, who gets up more, who has the better style. There's so many aspects to it.
I put a lot of preparation into presentation.
When I was younger, I did a lot of graffiti. I was known as what you call a writer, which is basically someone who goes around tagging things, get a reputation off of your name on streets.
Well, graffiti basically taught me everything I know about art. Graffiti artists in Philly are kind of like the guys I kind of looked up to when I was young, and I just liked how they took what they had to get things up. It might not even been spray cans, could have been markers or anything, and that's what I liked. I liked that it was this art with no rules.
Basically, my style of art is graffiti, but in a different light, in a different corner than what you see outside. I don't really include a lot of writing in my art. That's just because there is illustration out there that is just as beautiful as the writing in graffiti.
Through graffiti, I kind of express just my individualism. I express my enjoyment of art. I express those that kind of came before me and that influenced me. Most of all, my creativity is expressed through graffiti. I think the thing that I express the most through graffiti is my love for this medium of spray paint. Something not everyone respects, but I just like the quick and dirtiness of it. I'm basically another artist with another style. I fit in, but yet I'm different from everyone.
Representing Wreck the Floors, you know, SP Crew, Universal Zulu Nation. I've been writing for about 3-4 years. Originally from 757. When I look around, it's like there's a lot of really dope pieces and stuff out here, and there's a few, you know, there's some nasty writers out here. There's a lot of toys too, you know, but I mean, wherever you go, there's always going to be a lot of them. But overall, I mean, the Richmond scene's, you know, I think it's growing, and, you know, hopefully it gets better.
Started in Philadelphia by Cornbread, who later taught Top Cat, which eventually the culture moved on to New York City.
For hip hop, there's DJing and MCing. That's our specific music. Our dance is breaking, and then, you know, our art form, our language is graffiti. And so that's what graffiti is to me. You know, it's just part of my culture.
Taki 183 was actually one of the first writers to get up all city on the buses.
As far as graffiti originating, a lot of people say it was Cornbread in Philadelphia. But that's like a lot of East Coast. Some people say it was, you know, Taki 183 from New York. But it's hard to tell. As far as graffiti being adapted into hip hop, it was definitely started. That's all came to New York. When hip hop started in the Bronx, graffiti started becoming a part of it, and that's where it developed there. But also on the other side of the coast, the Chicanos were since the 30s they would paint their neighborhoods and let them know, like, oh, this is this family that lives on this block, and it was kind of like an early gang type thing.
Hip hop is a culture. It's not, everyone thinks of it as music. It is music, but it is music just like it's breakdancing. It is breakdancing just like it is graffiti, like it's Shell Toes Adidas. I mean, it's all these elements that come together that were just people making do with what they had.
well, it's a unique element out of the hip hop culture in the sense that you don't need to be a hip hop head anymore to be a graffiti writer. You could be a punk rock fan, or it's not even about the music anymore. Like, it's just graffiti has expanded so like into its own culture that it's all over the world now.
It's a full contact sport. You should be expected to get robbed, you expect to get beat up, you expect to get, arrested, jumped, robbed, everything. You should expect it all. And there's really no saying, there's a lot of unsaid rules, unspoken rules. And that makes it even more beautiful, when somebody can complete something that's that artistic and that beautiful in a spot where they're having to constantly watch over their shoulder, not just for cops, but for other graffiti writers who don't think that maybe they should be there in their spot. So it's a continuous battle. It's a struggle. It's a war, and yeah.
Knowledge is important because, if you don't have the knowledge to not go over somebody or to do a piece where you're not supposed to do it, then you just fail in that life,
Graffiti to me is just going out and kind of fighting the system and keeping communication with the people of the city to other people around who might not be aware by using spray paint to write on any public property.
I think wherever you go, whichever city you're in, whether you have a small city, big graffiti scene, small graffiti scene, there's always going to be people out there that want to express themselves. There's always going to be people out there wanting to put things on walls. You can't stop people from expressing themselves. Everyone's an individual. It's not so much as providing spaces, it's so much as convincing property owners that these images are beautiful and these images will look great if you would just give them the opportunity to do so.
DOS, Dirty Old South. Those guys are well respected. They're in tons of magazines. I've seen those guys work from before I even moved to the East Coast, and obviously they're some of the most skilled, best writers, and they get up. I got a lot of respect for those guys, and I don't even know them personally, but I know their work, and that's all that matters. If you're a good writer, respected, if you're respected by your crew, by that crew, then they might ask you to come paint with them, to get up with them, and once you put in some work with the crew, then you usually get down with them. But as far as being in a respected crew, you got to put in work with people, and they have to respect you. And I feel like being in a crew is a pretty serious thing, because you're not only writing the name of yourself, you're also writing the name of all those people, and you kind of have to show out for everybody,
With your graffiti crew, they should be like your family. You trust them to give you the okay to paint, stuff like that. If a cop's coming, he lets you know what's up. They have your back basically out there. Because it's you're out there alone under a bridge. Sometimes it's good to have a crew. Not all artists feel the same way. Some writers, they go out solo or whatever. But a crew is definitely a family, and they like to represent together. And even when you do a piece, a lot of people, they give shout outs to each other. You give shout outs to other crews. You check on a lot of these pieces, there's all sorts of hand styles above. A lot of crews, some of them don't like each other, some of them hate. They only stick amongst their crew members. But others, they're cool with each other, They like to support the graffiti scene and get up together or whatnot. It's really rare to find another crew who shares the same love for the element.
To be part of a crew is kind of like being part of a fraternity. Just like individual writers represent themselves under certain names, it's you represent this crew of wherever and whoever. It's just like a fraternity. It can grant you immunity in some places, or it can be the worst thing for you sometimes. With a crew, a bombing crew, a graffiti crew, you basically have shared interests with all these guys. Like, this, compared to drugs, like these are the guys you get high with. These are the guys that are going to inspire you to do what you want to do.
I was just thinking, like, something right now that amuses me in Richmond is watching this little battle go on. And you can see that H that's over that piece right there. This dude Hershey, I think he's a good writer. He also went over somebody else's piece right there too. You know, I don't know what their beef is, I don't know what the problem is, I don't know who did what to who, but I can tell you a couple of things about that cat with the H, Hershey. I know that he's a good writer, I respect him. And the people that he's going over, I can see that they obviously had a crew piece that they did right there. Obviously not as good as him, not even close to good as him. So whatever their beef is, it's just kind of amusing to watch because it's developing all over the city. I go, different spot here, different train there, and he just goes and smashes all over these kids. So whatever they did to him, it's kind of funny. But he's getting them back really good, real good.
To write over someone's stuff is total disrespect. And like I said, if you already have that reputation and you write over someone's stuff who doesn't have that reputation, of course, that has little to no repercussions on you. As where if it's the other way around, it's vice versa. It can be bad for you.
That's this dude Roy. I mean, he's very popular too. I mean, I've seen his pieces up in DC a lot too. But I think I'm pretty sure he's from Richmond because he smashes a lot down here. Obviously, he's got beef with somebody because somebody crossed him out, and that's, I don't know. I think that he's a pretty respectable writer. I respect him. I don't know him. I don't know anything about him, but as far as like I've seen his work out, I respect his work. He gets up a lot. Somebody obviously thinks differently.
When you're a writer, you go out to basically make a name for yourself. If you're seen all over the city, you usually start to accumulate a reputation. It's like running for president. It's, you go out and you basically tag as many walls as possible, not disrespecting anybody, because if you disrespect somebody, depending on how big that other person is, you can gain a bad reputation. So when you first go out, you kind of want to be as cautious as possible. You want to kind of make a name for yourself, and at the same time show off some, I guess, skills, show off some of the new techniques that you know how to do.
I'd say the universal message is evolving letters and it's all about style points and getting up in places where people can't get up, and putting your name in many places as you can. If a writer's really good, you'll be able to tell his style, and like that to me makes what a good writer is. If somebody could walk down the street and they can't read your name, but they see your style, and then if they go somewhere else and then they see your style again, they might not know your name, but they could tell your style, and like being pinpointed by your style, I think is pretty big respect.
Well, my style, I want to say, like everybody else, my influences make me. My style is just like the different elements that make up graffiti that inspire me, like stenciling. I stencil, I freehand, I do a little bit of fine art. The music I listen to, it's just everything balled up into one. And that's what makes graffiti great.
I don't use stencils, I don't use any edges. I like to clean up my work by hand. I think hand style is very important, and hand control is obviously the most important thing when you're doing graffiti. And so I like to keep it all organic, just cans on walls. Some of the styles that I think that I use personally is a lot of sharp letters, a lot of thin lines, and you can tell that's more of a West Coast thing. Is like the more sharp arrows and more sharp letters, and kind of thinning it out, and then going from big to small. When I say East Coast style is more of a rounded style, and this is generally speaking.
I mean, everything's already been done. You can go and look at bubble style graffiti, and it's always duplicated, just different letters and different styles. Like different people warp it just a little bit different. But and like what I'm doing, like with the 3D stuff, I mean that's it's already been done. I'm just kind of warping it into my style. So
there's different caps. There's the New Yorker cap. There's different caps that different cities use. There's different waves that different cities use. I mean, it goes deeper than I know, honestly. There's not a lot of people doing what I'm doing. There's not a lot of graffiti artists that are trying to get into galleries. And that's interesting just because I feel like, and I'm biased, but I feel like graffiti artists are one of the most creative types of artists. And like I said, most of them I think are like me in the sense that they are fine art trained. They can draw a real person realistically, you know what I mean? They can do all that, but they choose to go the abstract way of graffiti. They choose to graphically show their ideas in a different way.
I mean, this is basically like a mural with a graffiti piece on top, but the bottom is basically just, I mean, anybody's like even a paintbrush could do this, but I chose to do it all with like spray paint because I wanted to show people that like you can do other things with spray paint than just like, you know, tag the side of a building or something, you know.
People have been sort of exploiting graffiti, you know, like they put them into museums like in New York and stuff like that. But I mean, graffiti belongs in the streets.
I'm sure like the people that are into more traditional graffiti are not into all this. They don't like the idea of getting paid. They may consider it selling out, but I mean, this is my only job. Like I don't do anything else. All I do is paint. So this is what pays my rent.
I wouldn't say selling out because everybody's got to eat, you know, and people got families to feed, and I completely understand that. But as far as it just, I feel like art in galleries or graffiti on canvas takes away a lot of the feeling from, you know, from the graffiti. It takes a lot of the expression out of it. It's kind of like a weak-hearted, you know, graffiti. And I'm not saying that like I'm against it in any kind of way because I'd love to look at graffiti on canvas, but I'm just saying the feeling is not the same as looking at it on a train or like seeing it on a wall where you know that somebody had to be looking over their shoulder while they did it, not just sitting down with some paint pens, you know?
Graffiti in general, I think people would prefer it on walls in the street because that is the canvas, is the city, you know? So I would say that graffiti itself should stay on the streets and stay on walls and not on a canvas. But at the same time, you know, if someone wants to put some stuff on a canvas and start a gallery, that's fine. I mean, I know people that do that too, so.
I know people who've gone away for, well, probably like, you know, 3 years, and it's because the Vandal Squad, all they do is, you know, once you're in the system, once they catch you, they're gonna go around town and then find pieces with your name on it, and then they're just gonna keep adding up your charges, And honestly, state to state really matters. A lot of states really crack down on graffiti and graffiti writers. I know this is my boy from California, and it sucks. I mean, he's out now, but just at the time, to think of how minor what he did it's just kind of ridiculous. I mean, I don't understand how people could actually penalize somebody like that and pack the prison systems when they're already full. And I feel like it's terrible. I feel really bad for writers that are locked up.
I've never gotten in trouble for doing graffiti. I do know some people who got in trouble for doing graffiti, which the stakes were kind of high with their punishment, which is kind of influenced me to stay out of doing vandalism. It's a big reason why I don't go out even here.
I mean, it's the only kind of art that you could do that's illegal, and it's just crazy to me.
I mean, you paint on a wall, and to get it off, all you gotta do is just paint over it. It's just paint. Like, you can just repaint it. So it's not like it's really affecting anything. You know, it's not like we're like, and no one's like burning down a building or like, you know, crashing cars into walls or anything like that. We're just painting a wall that can be repainted. So it's not like, I think the penalty is like for getting sent to jail, like with people that like kill people or like are doing drugs or like really doing like harsh crimes. It's just kind of like, I don't know, it's not cool.
Now, if somebody's, you know, doing graffiti on some stupid, you know, some stupid place where they shouldn't be doing graffiti at, you know, on somebody's house or on their car or, you know, on not commercial vehicles, you know, on people's personal things, then, I don't know, maybe they should just get a slap in the wrist, but like I don't know if they should take it all the way to a vandal squad needing a whole department to stop this, because it's gonna happen anyways. There's no stopping it, period.
November 21st at 10:44 a.m.
Hey Nathan, what's up? This is Ham. Hey listen, I don't know if you can use this or not. I know you guys are in the editing stages or whatever, but I'm being forced to take down my mural in the back of Adam's place, and we're not happy about it. We'll be putting up another mural over that, and I've got an interview with Channel 6 today about them doing that. Just letting you know what was going on. I don't know if you can use it or you can't use it. Just, I guess, call me back. You get this or email me or something. But okay, I'll talk to you later.